Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. Today we're going to be looking at Inteleon Toolbox. I love Shady Dealings, and this is an archetype that really leans into that engine, trying to throw a ton of type coverages in one prizes at many of the top archetypes in the game. Zeraora being a new introduction to the deck to really help out Palkia, the new contender from Astral Radiance, is a really welcome include to give us a way to uptrade into that matchup. It's also a natural free retreat Pokemon, which is very welcome in the deck. There's been times when people have played Tapu Koko just for that alone, and Zeraora fills that role. We're going to be playing 2 copies of the Zeraora, which gives us an additional 2 good leads in the deck, and it offers an attack that can KO a Palkia V Star with a Choice Belt, or just KO a regular Palkia V on its own. So very, very solid attack here. It does require Lightning and Colourless, which means we're tweaking our energy counts a little bit, but I do really like the Zeraora, especially in that Palkia matchup. It's going to be a great addition to the deck. We're still playing the other sort of tech Pokemon in here. We have Hoopa for a 90 damage poke. It can set up V or VMAX Pokemon in the early stages, or be a great way to use boss's orders, or just take out early engine Pokemon in play, trying to deal with Bidoof, Manaphy, Sobble, Dunsparce. These sorts of things are going to be really important for us to take prizes as and when we can, because you have to remember the late game for this deck becomes incredible thanks to the 2 copies of Galarian Moltres. That Malevolent Charge means it can come down all in one turn, and Fiery Wrath does a lot more damage the further you go into the game, the more prizes you give up to your opponent. So this is a type coverage Mon. Obviously, Moltres is hitting the Mew for weakness, so very early on you can be hitting a good amount of damage with that Fiery Wrath and one-shotting Mews and Mew VMAXs pretty comfortably as you work towards the mid-game. But also, this is just our late-game beat stick in general, so it's just a fantastic card to work towards. So using cards like Hoopa, like Rowlet, and even attacking with Inteleon at times are going to be really important to just take prizes anywhere they come, really. And Rowlet is a big part of this, being able to jump over across the active Pokemon and try and target some lower hit point things. Notably, Sobble, Dunsparce is a big one as well, especially in the Arceus matchup where we don't have many proactive threats. These are going to be big things to try and deal with. And of course, you can just be using these again to set up VMAX or V-Star Pokemon as well. We are playing a Manaphy to protect ourselves from Radiant Greninja against Palkia, as well as Frostmoth Box, I guess you could say. And Rapid Strike Urshifu, it's a little bit weaker because, of course, the opponent can clone through this card but make them have the combo whilst pressurizing them. You have the Galarian Zapdos V, which is a bit of a soft answer to good old Arceus. Dunsparce is a weird spot right now where there's more Mew and Palkia around. Mirrors aren't typically playing fighting Pokemon anymore. It's only really Zapdos in this deck, and actually Regidrago of all things, which give them a reason to play Dunsparce. So we'll sort of keep that in mind and sort of monitor it. But at the moment, Zapdos seems to be a pretty strong card against Arc, being able to one-hit KO them. Don't be intimidated by its high energy attack cost. Typically, the Fighting Instinct will kick in and reduce that cost quite substantially to be able to power this up all in a turn, especially with Raihan. It's pretty possible. And then we have a very thick line of the Inteleon 4-4-2-1 because it is the lifeblood of the deck. You even attack with the Shady Dealing Inteleon in this deck. Again, you're just a Raihan away from being able to Aqua Bullet. We play Water Energy in the deck as well. So you can do a 120 and 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench. This is actually kind of important against the Reggie deck, I've found as well. For some of your earliest pressure, and it's one of the reasons why I'm playing Rare Candy even in the list. So yeah, Shady Dealings is busted. It's the entire build around. We have a very thick line to try and get this rolling. And we also play a Quick Shooter in here as well to help skew some math, maybe put some V-Stars or V-Maxes in range for a late-game Moltres. Or if we are doing Aqua Bullet plays, you can try and ping down some lower hit point Pokemon as well. So it seems very good there. Couple other includes from Astral. Hisuian Heavy is a great way to cheat some space. Yes, I am still playing 2 Zeraora and 2 Moltres. I think they're important enough in the deck to play 2 copies of each, especially because Zeraora must be right-hand onto if you want to get him going in a turn, meaning that he's not the best Clara target. But the Hisuian Heavy means we can cheat the space with the Manaphy, the Rowlet, the Zapdos, and the Hoopa. Typically, these were 1 counts before in the deck. It just was a bad feeling when you prize them and you had to come up with other game plans. The Hisuian Heavy makes those Plan A's a lot more effective. We have Rescue Carrier for recovery, great for Manaphy, great for recovering intel pieces, which are often targeted by the opponent, even the Rowlet if you find it important enough. You have Retrieval, which is a bit of a backup if Clara ends up in the prize cards, so you can try and get a Moltres out of anywhere, and it also allows you to do Retrieval plus boss plays with a Moltres as well, so it just makes it a much more versatile card, oftentimes paired with that Malevolent Charge, but can work in a few different ways as well to try and get our specific energy rolling all in the turn. The candy, like I said, it's for Regis somewhat, but it's also just like a good consistency card, and letting us have some pressure with Aqua Bullet when we otherwise wouldn't, I think is really important. It helps you get around things like Meloetta plus Oricorio, where Hoopa isn't quite as effective. It gets around Ice Cube, it gets around Deoxys as well, so a few tech includes from Mew you get around all in one turn by going Raihan Candy all in one go and going for the Aqua Bullet. So I like this sort of tempo option of the Rare Candy, and Irida from the new set as well allows us to have this a lot more consistently, which I think is very cool. Then we have, Pal Pad as well as a recovery option. Then we have the high ball search count, the 3 quick, the 3 incense, and the 4 level to get us tons of access to the deals, which then gets us basically everything else. 4 scoop up net as well, integral for the Shady dealing. It's great to pivot into Zeraora as well at any point, now that we have that option, which is great. Training Court is going to bounce Path, which obviously Arc players are using, so you can weave in that Zapdos when need be and actually make sure you have that fighting instinct. And in every other instance, it's helping us retain energy, which is never a bad thing. And Irida is the new supporter from the set that we get to take advantage of. I'm playing 2 copies in here. I absolutely adore Irida in the opening hands because it's so versatile. Getting an item and likely a Sobble is going to be so good for you. It means that if you're holding a net but don't have energy, you can grab the E-Search. If you're holding energy but not the pivot option, you can get into that Sobble and actually get Keep Calling rolling. It really enables Keep Calling as your turn 2 play even more so than ever. So I think you really gain percentage points of Keep Calling, which is so important for the deck. You get 2 additional good leads with Zeraora, and you get 2 good early game supporters in Irida now to actually just get that Sobble in the active, get your boys out so you can start dealing on turn 2. That's when the deck really kicks on. And the good news about Irida compared to something like Sonya is that it doesn't fall off as hard. It's obviously great for continuing to get intel pieces throughout that mid-game and cherry-pick bits and bobs here and there. So really, really strong card. Amazing early game and sort of acceptable on turns when you don't need to boss or Raihan or Clara. Similar to Bird Keeper, where it's a great combo enabler for the Rowlet. It draws you cards in the mid-game as well. So Irida and Bird Keeper are kind of those like mid-turns when you don't need to Raihan or boss, which is also pretty nice to retain some resources. The belts are in here. I'm choosing not to play the super effective Glasses. It's one that I'm considering. Glasses does let you attack with Moltres like a turn earlier into Mew VMAXs, and it also allows Zeraora to beat like big charmed Palkias, but I don't think that's necessarily a thing that you have to worry about too much. So at the moment I'm just going for belts. The main idea is that against things like Arceus and things where you're not hitting for weakness, the Moltres is much more effective when you have belt available to you. So I like the 2 copies there, and having 2 copies obviously allows the Zeraora to be aggressive into the Palkia, which is essential. There's an argument to go for a 1-1 split as well. I've kind of been back and forth on it, to be honest. But we are playing 4 different types of energy in the deck, 4 of them being dark, 1 fighting, 1 water, 1 lightning, and we are wrapping it up in a nice bow with 1 Aurora, trying to be prize coverage for these ones when you need them. Oftentimes you're using Raihan anyway, so you can cherry pick the Aurora just off of the Raihan if you're worried about trying to access it. That's the main way. So yeah, I think this deck has a ton of legs. I think it's very strong into Palkia and Mew, similar to like the Regi deck, but I feel like it's more consistent and has a better game into Arceus than Regi's do. It's still kind of weak to Avery and other tech cards, but it's less so again than Regi's. So I think it's just like a better 1 prize deck overall in the game. I think the only thing to be concerned about is where the Thunderous Awakening Jolteon ends up in all of this. It's not a stretch to add a Scrapper in the list, because you do play 2 Raihan and 2 Irida, so even with just 1 copy of Scrapper, you'd have a good amount of outs, even without Shady dealing at your disposal, to get that Scrapper and remove a tool from the Jolteon. But trying to knock out the Jolteon isn't all that easy. Like, the Rowlet isn't able to reach on Eevee without Zigzagoon coming into the list. You can't really make boss plays because, again, the Hoopa only does 90 damage, so again, Zigzagoon would be a card that you'd try and include if you were worried about that. So a few things I'm concerned about. Scrapper's definitely one I've got on my monitor list that can come in based on what the most popular arc variants are. But I think whilst people figure out what the most popular arc variant is, we'll just capitalize on the other matchups in the formats. Most notably, people know how they're playing their Muse, people know how they're playing Palkia right now. And we're trying to cash in on those two key type coverages, and I still believe this is going to be the strongest one prize deck in the game. So we'll see. Certainly one that's sort of less easily countered, I think. It really comes down to how people try and counter Palkia, and whether it's going to be Jolteon shenanigans or not. Again, we could go even higher on the Irida count if you wanted more outs to Tool Scrapper as well, so something to think about there. One thing we're not playing, actually, is Cynthia's Ambition. It's a card that I've had in previous... Well, in lots of the Intel Dark builds, used to play just one copy. We're not going for it in this instance, because I feel like Irida is just a better turn 1 card, and it's actually turned out to be the case. If this was a Cynthia right now, I'd be very upset. But the fact that it's Irida allows us to grab that Sobble. We already have Net and E-Search in hand, so I have the license to go for like Sobble Level Ball for the following turn to hold on to more deals, and it means I can Candy Incense, so... Our opponent is playing the Regi deck. It's actually a pretty hard matchup for us, which is a little bit awkward, especially when they lead out with the Gigas, because it has such high hit points. The 150 is just massive. So we'll see how strong their start is. Already getting 4 of the 6 Regis into play. And they have access to Stadium for the 5th. So that's a little bit scary. We're going to start off with the Hisuian, just see what's in the prizes. So 2 of our 4 Drizzile is a little bit awkward. 2 of our Darkness Energy as well, also pretty awkward. But we really don't represent many good pressure plays against Regis. So this is actually just one of our saddest situations, I think it's fair to say. So I do have Incense for Big Shady anyway. So I feel like I'm just grabbing Level Ball, because that's going to be in the mix for next turn. Certainly it means I can do even more deals. So let's grab this stuff. Let's do the Net, grab back the Moltres, play the E-Search. May as well be the Water straight away, because it can always be Right Hand if the active is knocked out. Right Hand's part of our strategy regardless. I can also get the free Zeraora, which is not bad as a pivot. And let's keep calling. So, let's see how good their turn 2 is. They can naturally get access to their Drago. It's really how quickly they can find their twin energies to actually start attacking this turn. Potentially as well, if they find Net, they could Net into something else, like a Lecky, and start swinging. It looks like they're playing the aggressive Drago rather than the drawing one. We are going to see a Speed Lightning for a couple energies. Just 1 Aurora in the discard pile so far. Choice Belt isn't doing anything. Just the research, okay. They're certainly looking for Net here. Net unlocks the board where they could go attacking with their Aleki here. See, Quick Ball, getting rid of an extra energy. Because they've already attached here, though, I'm not afraid of this twin energy. They'd only be getting to 4 energy. Which would be enough to retreat to Static Shock, but it wouldn't be a KO. Yeah, that's going to leave it all on the active. Which is fine. Let's make some Drizziles. So because we didn't suffer a KO, we won't be going right hand. I think we go boss here. Keep all the energy on this guy. Make them pay retreat. They could easily pay retreat into an Aleki, though, because they have the mountains. So do I try and bounce the stadium and boss? I guess I do. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not helping my hand much by drawing any cards. Like, if I was playing the Bird Keeper, I'd get some additional cards here. Hitting the active is so bad, though, when it can just get scoop up netted. So I think we have to try and take the first prize of the game here. So boss is going to be part of our plan. We obviously go for big intel here. I think I also spend this on the Drizzile. Oh no, I can level Drizz, right? So let's do this. E-search level. Just get all of our Drizz pieces in circulation. I think I need Dark Energy in the deck, right? No, I need them in the bin because I have 2 in the prizes. Yeah, okay. We'll take this. We'll go Drizzing. And we're going to do the counter stadium play. I think it's the smartest line we can take here. We have Incense for next turn for big Drizz. And we'll put the 20 on Gigas, try and get it in range of some shenanigans. Next turn we can Aqua Bullet ping if they to reach the 130 on this guy. The only issue is we're sacrificing a lot of our intel line, so the Drizzile prize is definitely a welcome one. Obviously, even though we're shutting off Wisdom, they could still... Whoops, there goes my light. We can still manually... They can still manually attach, I should say. They'd only be hitting 150, though, so they definitely need to try and get an Alecki out. They actually had the Counter Stadium in hand, which is really annoying. They usually only just play 3 copies. But they are spending a Rod here, and they will have to pay retreat. Okay, we're going to see a Zinnia's. Why would they Zinnia before the mountains? That's really strange. Okay, but they can pay retreat and get a response KO here thanks to weakness. But thanks to the Rare Candy, we have taken the first prize, which is great news. It's very difficult for the Regi deck to take additional prizes against us as long as I develop a Manaphy in a timely fashion. Which we can obviously do with the amount of deals we'll have next turn. Yep. They're going to throw some shoes into the mix as well. They also could have attacked with this guy, I guess. It's very good that they've gone for the Alecki, though, because it means I don't need to get quick shooting out this turn to take a KO in the active. 120 being the lowest hit points among all the Regis. Alright. We top deck Raihan. That saves me a Shady deal. So that's pretty good. I just need to start working towards having my Moltres online, really. I already have one in hand, which is pretty good. I obviously need to also get a Manaphy developed, which I can do very easily just with a level ball now. It's not an urgent thing, but I don't want to... Like, I have enough deals right now that I don't want to get backdoored into a problem. So I think I'll do this, then net this one, remove some damage, get an extra deal out of it, have a deal for next turn. Seems like a good combination. I'm forced to go grab an energy off this Raihan. And obviously we've just grabbed the energy retrieval, so we want the darkness energy. we have a good shot of getting a Darkness Energy off prizes as well. So, another Drizzile... Sorry, another Intel piece will go down next turn. We only have one in the bin. But I do want access with Clara next turn, I think. Spending the Clara this early, it doesn't make actually much sense. I could just take the Raihan instead. And Raihan to my Moltres. I think that's reasonable. I think we do something like this for next turn. Seems good to me. We've developed the mana. Next turn we have Carrier for this. Oh, sorry, this and Drizzile. I'll be right-handing and having to get Clara to hand, but that's completely fine. I'll have 2 Dark Energy in the bin. Okay, nice. Okay. Seems good. And the Regi deck really not known for playing much hand disruption, which is obviously good news for us. Net's never a bad prize either. But as the hand stands, we're ready for next turn to get an attack in. I can right-hand react accordingly to basically anything here. We've dealt with 1 Aleki, 1 Rod so far. Always a good thing to track as well, of course. See what's going on there. They're also playing the Sniper Aleki, which is really good for us because it's just a useless card. The Sniper Aleki is a way around Ice Cube, though. That's a card doing the rounds at the moment in some Palkia's lists. Playing Rope and 1 copy of this Aleki. Kind of spicy. Or Rope Boss. A few ways you can go about that little block face guy. Let's see what they're going to go for. They're actually going to go Spending a Net, which is a bit weird. I guess they realize they already have a Regi in hand, something like that. Or maybe they've prized their other Drago and they don't want it in the firing line. Typically, Alekis and Dragos are the best things to get rid of because they have the stadium, right? So they have instant access back to them. But regardless, they're going to go for the Steel Man. So this turn, we need to evolve into Quick Shooting. So that's the only thing we need to bear in mind. We're, of course, going to grab back these boys. I'm going to grab back these boys. We're going to do this. Do this. I'm going to manually attach. Now I can actually Raihan to the Drizzile that I'm evolving now, the Water Energy, which is going to be great. I'll actually take the Clara and keep the Incense in the deck. And just Raihan directly for the Quick Shooter. I think that makes the most sense. Raihan Water here. Take Quick Shooting. Fire Wrath Quick Shoot. I have deal next turn for the Clara. Clara gets me Inteleon and this in 2 energy. That's so much value. Okay. Water here. Quick Shooting to hand. Have to Quick Shoot the active because we're only hitting 120. And we're just keeping up here. I think we should just be pretty golden to get our last 3 prizes, honestly. We've got our next prize lined up here with Aqua Bullets, whilst accumulating more resources. The Clara's going to be busted. It gets 1 Inteleon, 1 Moltres, and 2 Darkness Energies. We have more deals on top. So it's looking pretty good. The Candy is a big tech card. I have lost a good amount to Regis, actually, pre-Rare Candy. Now that I play Candy, I feel a lot more confident in the matchup. It's still not the easiest, because they have all 130 hit points. So again, Zigzagoon could be a card that I mean, it's a card I've considered a lot in for the deck. If I have to put Zig in for these idiots, though, I feel quite bad. It does make the Rowlet much more dangerous, though. It means you can deal with, like, Bidoofs and stuff. So definitely a consideration card on my list. Alright, big Reginald coming in. He's gonna break through me. Let's deal. We basically just want energy at this point. We have them in the prize cards, so that's fine. We'll basically just Pal Pad back this Clara immediately, because it's so busted. I guess just... yeah, this makes the most sense, actually. Keep the Darkness Energy in the discard pile. Let's do this. Grab Clara back. And I guess I grab right hand to hand. It's just so much tutoring. Lightning here. We can start putting damage on stuff. I'm just going to try and spread the love in case they randomly go for quick shooting and try and make a play. Dark's a pretty good prize. But we're slowly getting over the line here. You can see the plan though, right? We're just going to try and Clara Moltres. You know how it is. Gigas is back. Hey presto. In comes Steel Man for the heavy slam. Let's do both. Let's make our molts. Let's bench the guy. Let's ping this guy. Don't want to thin stuff. I guess I should thin some stuff just in case I'm getting randomly manied, because that's the only thing that I lose to at this point. But we should be pretty chill here. These long, grindy, one-prize matchups. But hey, we took the first one. Busted. Thanks, Rare Candy. And they also had a fairly slow start, I guess you could say. They let out the Gigas, which was like good and bad for them. Its high retreat cost meant they just had to find net, and they couldn't in a timely fashion. See a Bruno from them, so no hand disruption means we're just over the line. Miles over the line, to be honest. They're gonna recover the steel, man. Keep us honest, I guess. Makes sense, right? But what else can they do, really? The Gigaton break comes in. Does all it can. But it's not enough. Like I said, actually a scary and losable matchup. We're not super teched for it. Like, Candy is my softest possible tech. If you actually fear the Regi deck, Avery in a one-prize deck is really, really good against them. Especially because we played Pal Pad. So making them take 6 physical prize cards whilst getting hit with Avery over and over again is actually like pretty tough for them. Because then you can go Averying and bossing stuff around as well. I know we used Raihan a ton there, so it's hard to... It's not so easy to weave in the Averys, but I think you can get it done once or twice. If you just Shady deal differently. So if you're struggling with Regis, you can go for that. Our opponent is getting to go first here. We've once again got the Zeraora Irida. Oh, it's the dream. Irida is such a treat, honestly. She is cracked. Looks like we're up against the Bliss tank deck. This is a really reasonable matchup for us as well, I think. Zapdos isn't actually that good against them because they normally leave the Blissies in like ones, but in this case they've actually gone 2 straight away, so they are going to get blown back by like a right hand play later down the line here. But we're always going Sob plus E-Search here. We've prized none of our line, which is great news. We have the Retrieval, we have the other E-Search. Candy's here, which is probably worth noting. Our Zapdos is here. Is our Fist Energy here? No. That's a little bit annoying. We prized Fighting and Aurora Energy. So annoying when they let out with Blissey and we can't punish it straight away. So we're going to try and just put as much prep damage into it as we can basically next turn. I have Level Ball. I could even go for a Quick Ball play this turn, honestly. I could Quick Ball away the boss and just hold Drizzile to hand. We really don't need boss much. I think I want the water in circulation just in case I'm going to be... I guess I'm not going to be doing Raihan plays anyway. Aqua Bullet plays for a small while, so... Let's do this. Zeraora, such a busted lead in the deck. Really helps out with those opening turns, which is one of the scariest things for this deck in general. Any percentage points are so welcome. So, double turbo coming in. We actually see a boss from them. Taking out our pivots. And they also... Actually, there's damage reduction that they've not considered. Okay. I like dealing with the dunce here. With our Bird Keeper Rowlet play. It gives us an early access prize, and we have a 33%er of just getting an energy that completely detonates them, right? What's not to like about it? Whilst we grow up our big Drizzums. Drizzile dancing, getting our Rowlet this time around because it's our last level ball. Let's draw some cards. I'm already holding Intel for basically everything that I want to be doing next turn, so let's just grab a net. Net's always that great stopgap of like, I don't really know what I want. Net is always just a good card to take. Let's just deal with a dunce. Fighting energy. Hate to see it. Fighting and Aurora both in the prizes. We play the second just to not have this happen to us, but here we are. So it looks like I might be Zeraora attacking this turn. We have so many deals, it's absurd. If only we had a Hisuian heavy for the deck. Sorry, for the energies. I think right hand is fine here, so let's grab a belt just to try and put that pressure on that little bit more, because the opponent has no hand. I'll right hand for energy, I think, because they're the hardest things to find in the deck. I guess I'll take a... I think I just go double belt, honestly. We'll right hand the active as well. Actually, we'll right hand the bench Zeraora because it's so much better against Sharon's Care. Yeah. We'll grab lightning. I like pinging. So we're doing 140. If I put it active, it's better against Belt. So we'll do this. I definitely want a net to have more deals available for next turn. When you already have net in hand, what do you even take? I guess it's another right hand to hand. And we just hold the rest. So they do cape up. They actually have the Hyper Pot, but doesn't scare us too much. We'll be attacking with an Inteleon this turn. Again, I think I'm right-handing just for energy, get them in circulation. So this guy's at 240, so I don't need to put the belt on, don't need to commit it. I can do more deals if I want to. What would I be dealing for? Nothing really. Let's just swing. Let's see if the prize or the top deck helps our opponents. See a crushing hammer. Not a huge problem for us. We'll make us spend the retrieval so they can get a response KO with next Bliss, but that's pretty okay. So I guess I'm bird keeping just for cards here. I think I'm going to also get a prepped Moltres down. Play this. What's my best fodder card? Probably Irida. I need a card to quick ball away that's worse than everything in our hand, because our hand is stacked. Yeah, seems good. I don't need to belt up, no. Will we ever see the Fighting or Aurora energy? We will not. It's so sad. Dang it. See the switch cart for a little bit of heal. They will continue to take prizes on us. So we can 25 them this turn, right? We can go 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 200, 2, 4, 6. So let's knock it out. Pretty sneaky. Even more deals for next turn. That's what it's all about. Shady dealings the deck. Let's go for a big Fiery Wrath. They do get a card from a Lucky Energy. Hey, look! The cards that make us win the matchup. There you were all along. We have our Bird Keepers, even if they are going to try and make a stalling play. Yeah. Not bad. Always nice to have this matchup covered as well. So yeah, it was kind of grindy games. We didn't face Palkia or Mew, the matchups we're trying to target, but history shows that you have a very strong Mew matchup with this deck, and it actually improves with the Rare Candy Irida, I think. So you have an even stronger Mew matchup than you used to have. And your Palkia matchup is pretty solid. I mean, they can easily play Tool Jammer, which does deny the one-hit KO with this guy, but even just like setting up Hoopa into Zeraora plays and stuff in the opening stages isn't a bad thing necessarily, because you know that you still have a late-game beat stick against the Palkia matchup, and you just really have to be aware that they can cancelling Cologne, knock out Manaphy, and like one Drizzile, so you always need to have like floating Drizzes around your board basically. So that's a small thing to bear in mind. Know that they're not only going to take one prize a turn against you, they can have a turn where they take 2 prizes, so you just have to factor that into your prize map. So just a small thing to note there. And maybe if you work your way to the sort of mid to late game, if you can have actual Inteleons lying around rather than Drizziles, it's scary against hand disruption, but it's a thing you can go for. So let me know what you think about this deck. Is it still going to be a factor in the game with the potential of Jolteon, with the potential of Roxanne? I don't think there's a huge amount of it at the moment, surprisingly. I think this deck was always pretty okay into Marnie. If you want to improve your time against Marnie, you can obviously play Oranguru as well if you want to. Something Tord developed in his later stages of Urshifu. So that's another thing to bear in mind. It's never a bad thing to bank nets or incenses or whatever to the top of your deck, so you can just deal your way back into good hands. That's always a thing you can go for. So yeah, I've been adapting this deck, tweaking it as I go. It's one of my pet project archetypes, so really am a fan of it. And I imagine I'll see more of it throughout this format. I think it'll be a factor. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers.